And we're definitely not going to be missing out, Jason. Thank you very much once again. But Imperium, I really enjoyed the points that they brought up on the desk, you know, back on PUBGC about Zeus. You know, nobody knew too much about Zeus on the international stage, and then they become this huge star-level team in PUBG Mobile esports. And hey, Xavier living up to the expectations, and they might be the next team to follow in the footsteps of Zeus.
They're exceeding expectations, let's be fair. And that is the joy and the beauty of the evolution of PUBG Mobile esports. Because let's be fair, PUBG Mobile esports is still only in its infancy, right? It's only 2 to 3 years old, and we're seeing a consistent evolution, growth, exposure to so many teams around the world, and for their stories to be told, the grind that they've done to get to the points in their career. And when you're heading into an upcoming PMGC with a $6 million prize pool, by God, all of these teams and many more are going to be fighting for the spotlight, for the money, for the limelight. So I'm so looking forward to seeing the Xavier in the future.
I'm disappointed, Imperium, that you didn't put your pinky to your mouth and said $6 million.
Who's to say I didn't?
Did you? Nah, I don't believe that.
No, I did not.
Nah, you won't get me like that, Imperium. There's no intonation behind it. You need to back it up.
Can I go again?
Nah, you lost a chance. You'll do it another time. Nah, too late. Yeah, but I want to say, so we got our event now where we got ourselves Valdez, Na'Vi. They're so solid up to the top.
Yeah.
Where does your attention drift to now? Are there other teams that are like, hey, never know, they can maybe breach top 5 in the last minute and maybe overtake the likes of BTR that are currently in that 5th spot? Are there teams that you're like, at the end, hey, they could just cross the finish line at the very end?
Yeah, 110%, because at least when you're looking from 6th to 13th, there's only 15 points dividing those teams. And then when you add BTR into the mix in 5th, that's an extra 3 points. So that's 18 points dividing so many teams. So yes, as much as I'm focusing to see if the Xavier can hold on to 3rd, if Zeus can breach, if maybe one of them can overtake Na'Vi, the fight for the top 5 for that 5th place is there for the taking.
Oh no, that's the start of things going downhill for Myth. 2 players down, Foroki and Flex. As they're just getting, okay, well, wow. That's something that happened. Blacklist International, 4 kills already. Aeon's getting knocked down, but that's going to be a very easy rest to go for. And now they got all the loot of Chuma set up for themselves. So an amazing start for Blacklist International. And now we've got to wait and see what that leads them to.
And I hope that gives Blacklist confidence going into not only the rest of this game, but the rest of the final game, because they're a team not known to be either looking for fights or necessarily the strongest in their fights, unless they are in the absolute late stages of the game in a controlling position. So this early fight for a team that are currently in 9th place, only 11 points behind DS in 6th. Come on, build it up. Being so proud of what this team has been able to show us in the game so far across these 4 days. But when you're looking to end on a big note, Blacklist, and show us what you got, because taking that fight against Myth, as much as Myth has struggled, does show that Blacklist can win team fights confidently.
I mean, at this level, it very rarely happens where you would start off a game of Miramar with 4 players still remaining and you got 4 kills, eliminating a team instantly. That doesn't happen often. Exactly. So it is one of the best ways for them to start it for Blacklist International, so big heads up. You said Blacklist International, one team you're interested by. I'm especially impressed with DS Gaming. I remember back in PMGC, the only South Korean representative we had were Archer, and I remember me on the desk with Jason and D-Man, especially me and D-Man. We were going after them quite a bit. We were like, okay, this team is too stubborn.
Oh, fluff.
I'm hoping all the teams in South Korea play like that, because it wouldn't make a lot of sense. But it goes to show that it seems like the South Korean meta has changed quite a bit, and I think also DS Gaming has also taken home a lot of this experience and knowledge that they gathered from this event back in their own home region. I think South Korea could be a big surprise hitting the PMGC if we have one of the teams actually going up there, because hey, they're impressing me. They're literally just 3 points behind BTR in 5th place. They could snatch away a 5th place at the very, very end, just above BTR if they perform well. So yeah, GS Gaming is the team personally that I'm going to try and look forward to seeing if they can perform well in these last 2 games.
Getting back into this game, the Phase 1 circle is quite heavily on the east now. Look, I don't wanna kind of jinx it too early, but like, it could be an island finish. I've done it. I don't care. I'm sticking to it. It could be an island finish, but as far as teams now rotating as the blue zone is starting to close in, Navi actually went for a Campo Militar drop. Either that or they dropped in the copy and made their way through, but I don't think that's the case. They dropped in Campo Militar, so they're kind of quite a little bit away from the circle. They've Yal in front of them, Zeusser and El Azahar. They have a really solid entry point into a really strong high ground position just to the south of them outside Junkyard. Fnatic Zombies are in a really good spot, but they are still, I believe, too close inside Impala despite the circle on Phase 1 being quite heavily on the east. I8, although they dropped in Los Leones with A1 and I believe the Xavier, they've all kind of respected each other and moved away on their respective areas, so that's good to see, and they're trying to set themselves up for a much better Phase 2 ongoing.
We can't currently see it. Hopefully the map feed will pop up eventually soon. Reject, I just want to point this out, they're once again going for a very big spread. I believe it's a 2-1-1. In fact, yeah, it's a 2-1-1. Sarah and Divine going to be away from the 2 other players of the team.
Is it too big?
It's too big, and that's one issue that I've had with Reject so often is being spread during a rotation is fine. Don't get me wrong. I do it myself when I'm playing my own games and I'm playing with teammates in voice chat. It's okay because you've got one player scouting, the rest of the team falling behind, and if you've got multiple cards, you're making sure that if one player goes down, the team can still moving forward. But Reject do it in such a way that literally, because they're so far away from each other, sometimes you'll see a team just pop in the middle of the spread, and then, well, they're so far away from each other, if one player gets knocked, then you can't assist each other, and you just lost one player for almost no reason, and there's no way of bringing him back into the game unless you win the fight. That's one issue I have. The spreads of Reject make sense, but they just push it to such an extreme that teams just are like in the middle, like, what? Wait, what's this? Are these 2 teams or is this one team? And they just win the fight after.
I think they've also kind of proven, or they haven't proven that it's gonna work for them, as Miracle does take down one, switches over to the gun, but on toward the sidelines. 6ix9ine boy is there for the taking, and he's gonna grab that kill.
Well, M16, unfortunately, is no weapon that does miracles for you, Miracle. Well, feels bad, man. That is not a clutch weapon. And should have stayed a little bit more scoped in, I would say. Maybe would have had a better chance to get the double, but doesn't quite go his way. That's going to be Miracle out for NASA. NASA did get a strong game last time. They got himself a 2nd place.
Yeah.
But they took it really slow, and we like it. That's what we like to see, because NASA, the main issue we had, them being a little bit too spread, like Reject, but they started working on that a little bit more, and it has worked out pretty well for the last few games now, so I want to see more of NASA actually trying to play as a team, because when you have one player far away like that, like Miracle, well, there's can't do much because you're playing with some of the best teams in the world. You're solo, the chance of you taking a 1v4, unless you're called Martin, well, it's not going to happen.
I love this from Zuxi. Just a little thing like blowing up a couple of tires from vehicle that's in the compound down below. It slows down your opponents. It's A1. It's really positive. It's going to give BTR a little bit more freedom. What do you mean you hate it?
It happens to me all the time. I'm in game, you know, I'm chilling, and I'm going to take a car. All the 4 wheels are popped. I'm like, come on. Gotta ruin my games.
Oh, Max. Do you want a hug? Do you want a hug?
Actually, that would be really nice, but from Jason, not from you. Sorry.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow. Okay, fair enough.
Hey, sorry, tough up. Tsundere over here, man. That's how we're doing it.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Navi's got to be a little bit careful. Yala Esport could put some stick in their wheels later on, so Navi's got to think how they want to enter that wall. And Geek Fam slowing their rotation down a fair bit. Circle does go down. A little bit of water still in play. Not going to be too hard. Los Leones, though. And looking at the position up north of Los Leones is amazing. A1 typically like to play that position, but they moved a little bit further away. Blacklist International are rotating late from that position, so I think Blacklist, if they scout and approach this position properly, they could have one of the best oversight positions of this entire game to actually get that intel that they desperately need.
I8 had I believe, a little bit of a 2-2 split. Upon this circle popping up, they're joining up as a full squad, so great reaction coming out from them. Yes, A1 did go a little bit further than an optimal position that you quite correctly pointed out, but they are still in the center of this phase 2. We're seeing a massive cluster of teams inside the circle already, with teams still rotating, so we could see a few players being picked off. Maybe not full squads wiped out, but a few players picked off just like that as DS look to get closer to that 5th place and knock on the Zyal. Satan rocks it up.
That right there is where you pop the wheels of your vehicle to make sure you can't get shot underneath it. I see.
Oh, wow.
Big headshot. Woo! Okay, A1 are out for blood right now. They want to pick everything out. And Zeus can't really afford to die now, right? Like, if they do, that's Zeus maybe giving their spot away to BTR.
And I loved what they said about Zeus on the desk as well. They are not playing with any flair in this final day, right? Or even throughout this whole tournament. I'm not saying they've played with fear, but they haven't played with the level of flair we've seen from them in PMPL and possibly PMGC as well. That kind of dominating, somewhat bullying playstyle. I know, you know, you're not really going to get away with a, so to speak, a bullying playstyle in this kind of lobby, but you know, compared to the likes of Navi, there are no way trying to make these games their own. It's like they're going, please, can we have a position in the circle, please? We come in peace.
And it goes to Valdez.
And it goes to Valdez, or they get punished on their rotation in. And they really need to rethink coming into future tournaments, because it's not going to get any easier.
Yeah, got to try and make sure you take a little bit more control. You're proactive on your approach to these games and to these circles. So hoping to see some evolution on that side. Na'Vi going for a sneaky wraparound. They saw Yala, they got the intel, so that's great. And now they are aware of the situation around them. It seemed like Yala are trying to chase it down a little bit. It seemed like both Loka and Bandar have a game plan in mind. But Na'Vi are just going so wide. They're also on the main road because the terrain's not really easy to maneuver around. So that's going to take a little bit more time for Yala to get in a prime position. So that's making that position of Na'Vi actually relatively easy to pull off. So I'm okay with Na'Vi and how they're making that work. But Yala's got to be careful because Geek Fam slowly but surely closing that gap, and they could get right behind Yala inside the circle.
And that's where I start to kind of get a little bit worried about Yala's consistency upon how they try to have these big 2-2 splits. Even if it's just rotating into the circle on phase 1 or phase 2, they tend to try and pull it off one too many times, and it's a kind of rotation or split that isn't jack of all trades. It is, for the most part, pretty situational. When it works out, by God, it works out really well for Yala, but when it doesn't work out, they get punished for it. Phase 3 pops up and it centralizes beautifully, but this kind of circle shift, on one hand, it's great because it eliminates pretty much like 90% of Los Leones, but on the other hand, it does allow very, very, very open field areas in towards the central part of the circle. So it does eliminate some tough areas for teams to, good areas for teams to kind of position themselves if they're not already there.
There are two very polar opposites kind of terrain you're dealing with here. You got the field finish you just mentioned in Pyramid up north, and then you got your big hilltops down south, the right up north of Los Leones. Good oversight, but now you've got to question yourself. What do we want to commit to? Do we commit to the high ground, or do we start going into the field, look for compounds, or make some makeshift compounds? That could work out fine, but it's not going to work out for Loka because he had nothing to play with there. Straight up, he's going to be one of the early casualties in the fields as Na'Vi play it for themselves. As Mega's going down, but you should be aware that was a knock. There could be another player around. He just crashes his way forward. Luckily, he does not lose his life in the process, and he gets joined up by Matic too, man. Meku and Matic is the deadly duo. I love seeing him play together.
But I love the fact that my point is proven, because even though Na'Vi had a bit of a split, that split is enough that they're able to join up and support each other. Yeah, they lose another player correctly off a team that you mentioned, Geek Fam, and now they're left with one. Ironically enough, it's Ida. Normally he's the first to go down, but he's last player standing. But with Kitsune throwing out the nades, boom, job done. Yala are out in first. I saw it. The writing was on the wall with how they were rotating into these circles.
Well, look how the turntables seemed like Yala thought they were in control, but no, it was Geek Fam all along. They were the sneaky anime main guy that just actually was shown to be nice at the first episode, but
okay.
At the end, he's big plot twist, and he actually ends up being evil. Well, that was Geek Fam right there. And Na'Vi just like, well, now we know Geek Fam's there because they just took care of the last few players of Yala, and they just, boom, instantly wrap around the eastern side, and we're trying to find an entry point through there. I love Geek Fam. They're just so proactive. They see the opportunity. They try and set themselves up beforehand too, which is why I love this team so much, and how they play around their macro mechanics. So really good setup from them. Picked up a few kills, but Fnatic Zombie, you're taking a little bit of time as Na'Vi could set up a little bit of a gatekeep later on. Oh, he makes it over. Get out of the car right now. Gets out in time. Take a little bit of drop damage there, but the rest of the team could easily pick him up.
I tell you whose rotation I love is DS, because with Lavadita being on the northwestern edge of the circle, it does open up for that crater to be occupied by a team, because you can peek up and down the ridge side, and it has a much higher elevated position onto the likes of Nasser down below, Valdez a little bit to the south of me. You can see it right now, and they're not even committing fully to it, which I even appreciate even more, because they're setting up for potential circle shift in a different direction, ready to react. But as it happens, it does center up once again with Nasser and A1 having two of the really only core compounds in play, with Valdez is just on the edge. Mafia Ninja, they lose, he gets taken down.
Oh, DRS, they tried to full send it towards Fnatic Zombies, but get nothing for that except a big fat L on their forehead. BTR, I love their oversight position too, and Valdez, you mentioned it was on the edge. I think that if they play their cards correctly, they could transition and transfer that into a lot of kills, so that's big. Nice nades onto AJ. Second nade might just be the hole-in-one they need. Right behind AJ, and it's an absolute banger from Mexico. Well, Hunkerfire still in the distance, trying to get as much intel as possible. Going to try and confirm that kill. They don't know, is it just AJ? Is there another player?
Oh my
Better off just making sure we confirm that kill. So that's AJ out of the game. And DRS, yeah, got a little bit too close to the flame and unfortunately burnt themselves severely.
Yeah, it's just Nima that's standing. He moved away, but he's going into the open, loving arms of Blacklist. So out of the fire pit and into the fire. DS can still hold on to that crater field area, but it's not as within the strength as the previous phase. But with the blue zone hitting the floor, Nima is going to take a chunk of damage. Blacklist are avoiding it. Nima gets caught out. Another kill for Blacklist. There are 5 already, but they do have to enter this circle, and they're going to go up against the Pakistani team that have definitely proven their might when it comes to team fights.
Yeah, but the fact that they lost absolutely no players in these fights and these skirmishes makes it so much easier for them to have a chance and an opportunity and a shot to get into the circle. So I think that's a great opportunity for them. IA got himself in a also... I like this spot, but unfortunately the fact that they have to cross over the road makes this go so hard for them. But Na'Vi, there you go. That's going to be the clash going back and forth. Reject also going for a spread. They're wrapping around this fight. They could try and suffocate both Na'Vi and Fnatic Zombies, so they got to be both aware. Third party is just above the horizon. Mexico had some banger nades earlier versus DRS. Can he get some banger nades versus Na'Vi? Nice. That's apparently a yes as an answer. They're going to get it done. There's Reject on the other side too. They're going to be taking care of the 2-2 spread of Na'Vi. This is hard. I don't think the Russian team has an easy way out of this fight as Tixi gets knocked down once more. Meku and Kitsune, the two remaining players. Kitsune, do you really want to join the fight? I would leave if I were him and try and find a little bit of a hole to hide into and hope to get some extra positioning points. Divine trying to cross over. Get some intel with that third-person perspective, but cannot get the exact pinpoint location of Meku.
Nice on Duello.
Fnatic Zombies, yeah, they're just going to be leaving. Ooh.
Yeah, but I really like this from Reject, getting into the thick of the action, using the dip that they have by the side of the road to their advantage. Salam and Mexico looks to reposition across the way. It's a Bood is going to be with them as well. Na'Vi are taking out Miramar. Has not been their fortitude inside these 4 days, right? They came in to today with an average of roughly about 7 points per Miramar game, and going out in 13th place with just a pocket of kills just kind of proved that they struggled in this map in the PMWI.
You see, this is what triggers me. Look at Reject. They're playing together and they're playing it so well. The control from that red line is so on point. It's literally 10 out of 10 execution. They're making sure they're taking care of Fnatic Zombies. They're also taking a fight versus IA, I believe, for some time. Oh no, Blacklist International it was.
Yeah.
And even got rid of Na'Vi. This is what I want to see from the Japanese team of Reject, as now Fnatic Zombies trying to force send it. He's going to have a fight versus Divine. Divine actually gets it. He was down to 50%. Nice. He was not supposed to win that. He gets it done. They're still up as a 4-man squad and already 5 kills to their name, and they got a few more available on the remaining players of Fnatic Zombies. This is the Reject I want to see all day, every day.
Yeah, but now they're going to have a bigger mountain to climb as the circle has shifted to the west. And guess what? It's all open. Just a couple of hay bales in form. BTR have the only kind of compound in play towards the high ground, overlooking everybody in the fields. A1 will have to move away from their fortitude. DS are going to wrap around on towards the northwestern side, which shall come across Valdez. So definitely with 10 teams left, 32 players alive. Geek Fam are eliminated, and the Xavier are doing their best to keep themselves up as a 3-man team.
Yeah, Geek Fam bite the bullet.
Those shots from Zuxi.
Yeah, Zuxi, I think he had a Mini 14 I saw earlier, and yeah, he's going to have himself the Mini 14, so he's going to be able to take himself some really good engages.
Okay.
Yeah, Fnatic Zombies, they're out. There's some extra kills, 2 reject. Man, 9 kills already, but 3 knocked. Lapis, you're not going to get everyone back up. You have to leave, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, mate. That's going to be the end for your teammates. Blacklist International. So it seemed like the focus was so heavily onto Fnatic Zombies. Blacklist International were just able to ruin a lot of their chances to play. So I'm just going to be claiming them one by one. What's the plan? He's going to try and heal. He's got 3 first aids. He can't stay here for too long, man. It's phase 5. That one tickles a little bit more too much than you would initially expect.
In the bike and run away, but Blacklist are moving away themselves, so he is able to pull off a first aid. I like the fact that A1 sent Sinister into the circle as some kind of anchor point with 6ix9ine boy knocked down. It is slowing down their push as the rest of the full squad. One of the Blacklist players gets knocked down by Darth Dante. The Xavier GE just can't do anything about the Mini 14 shots being laid down by BTR, the gatekeepers of this circle, as phase 5 Blue Zone closes in.
Yeah, Tiro is one of the top players for a few days actually in this World Invitational event, so trying to live up to the expectations with that luscious hair. We'll see if I'll be able to take down A1 Esports. But it's a 1-3. Not going to be too easy to pull off. Though the west side, that's the big threat for a lot of these teams, right? The overside, the overhang is so strong for DS Gaming, Valdez, and even Valdez actually going for a relatively big spread, a 2-2 spread right now, trying to put focus on both DS Gaming and also BTR.
That makes sense.
I think it's okay, but it's depending on how you execute it, because if you try and take those fights, that 2-2 spread is going to go actually heavily against you.
I think it's just not putting all your eggs in one basket, right?
That's fair, yeah,
that's
okay.
You know, yeah, you're just trying to spread out to find any kind of position, even if you're left with only 2 players up, and it makes sense. As A1 still trying to hold on, Sinister is inside the circle, BTR have the high ground. The circle does shift in A1's favor as the Xavier are taken out, so are Reject.
I think the Xavier died just after. Yeah, it died just after. That's going to be I think it was a 7th place for the Xavier and a 8th place actually going away of Reject. So that's going to be actually a little bit of a point difference coming out in position points. Go Valdez. There you go. Going for the fight. I didn't think they were going to push it. They had actually a relatively wide spread, but seemed like Valdez are trying to regroup. They want to fully commit their way towards BTR. Liquid going a little bit further back to make sure he can actually pull off that first aid. Seeing some big nades happening between both DS Gaming and NASA Esports.
Don't go for the revive. Don't go for the revive, Martin. Allow yourself to try and take that fight. It is being pulled off.
It's fine.
BTR aren't really pushing it.
I think this is fine. Reason why they did a lot of damage onto Liquid, they know that this is they're trying to now move back, and I think they heard the footsteps of them trying to leave. So I think that res is actually completely okay for them to do. But what's going to be the game plan after? That's what we're going to check out. Hamza, what was that? Absolutely destroys the South Korean team of DS Gaming. That's a top 4 minimum for NASA. Man, this is consistent for them. Last game at top 2, a top 4 also on this Miramar game. This is NASA Esports that's truly turned a new leaf, it seems.
Jordanian team showing up on the final day. Found their confidence, found their feet. But can they claim this chicken dinner? It would be their very first one as Valdez are disengaging away. They're like, no, we've wasted too much time. We're having none of it. But is it going to be too little, too late? A1 now going to have to defend their fortitude.
I'll see if the anime comeback story will work out for Hamzy, but no, he's just getting destroyed by 6 on top of that buggy. Not much could really do. 4th place for NASA Esports as Valdez. They're wrecking havoc over here on Miramar. It's BTR, A1, and Valdez. Top tier teams in PUBG Esports. We're trying to take that fight. And who will be the one to take the win, man? BTR, if they take himself a double win today, they're not called the Comeback Kings for nothing.
Nice.
It's a nice nade, a nice headshot connects. Everything is currently hitting the mark.
Oh, no.
The thing is, you're in that building right there under that shed. You're just so easy to nade up. You're prone to taking damage from BTRs. Now they're closing that gap, and A1 are just pinned down. There's not anything you can really do. Jax is just pinned down. The nade, the mollies, everything connects, and that's it for A1 as they get eliminated in 3rd. And now only 2 teams remain. It's Valdez versus BTR once again.
So good by BTR. Unfortunately for A1, Valdez couldn't be there to in any way initiate a 3rd party, so the focus was there for the Indonesian side. But the leaders of the PMWI, they just don't stop stopping. How do they do it? Full squad up, another game on board to consistency. He is just running wild, wilder than Hulkamania in the 90s, but that nade
disgusting
will slow them down.
Absolutely disgusting. What a nade from Liquid. Now they need to try and get himself a little bit more concept over to the side. Not too sure if they're aware of his current position, but the circle does go in BTR's favor. So Valdez really, they're gonna have to push out. And there's already been so much utility used by Valdez. There's literally no escape. Another nade. What are these nades connected for BTR? That's a kill confirm onto Martin. No more information being given by that player. You're seeing sneaky Liquid and Luxy as they're trying to get more intel, get some extra loot. Never know, could find a few more nades and mollies.
Nice.
This makes it a one-on-one trade. Luxy taking a severe beating too. Then you got two more players. Concept trying to push on top of that heal. Does get prone in time, but that's going to be the follow-up from Liquid. Actually, that's going to be helping tremendously. Only Gooey, the old path triple A will try and get that fight, but it's BTR. This is their game. This is their day. This is their day.